Hurricane Melissa is moving over the southeastern and central Bahamas. Good afternoon. On this Wednesday afternoon, we continue to monitor our very powerful Hurricane Melissa. There's the satellite over the last 24 hours as it made landfall as a catastrophic Category 5 storm along the coastline there of southwestern Jamaica. And then it made another landfall around 3:10 a.m. Eastern Time in the morning in Cuba. And then it's reemerged over the Bahamas, and it is now very near Crooked Island in the central and southeastern Bahamas. It looks like it's going to get rather close to Bermuda, but hopefully it'll miss it just to your west, although you could be on the right side. And it is still a potent hurricane to have to deal with. Here is the latest from the National Hurricane Center on Hurricane Melissa as of 5 p.m. Eastern Time. It was at 22.9 north, 74.8 west. Winds are 90 miles per hour, so it's a Category 1 hurricane, but it is possible it strengthens back to a Category 2. It is forecast to do so, and it might even become a Category 3 major hurricane again as it accelerates over the Gulf Stream waters. And again, it's moving northeast at 16, the pressure 974 millibars. To give you a comparison of how weak that is compared to when it hit Jamaica, it was 892 millibars. So it is far weaker than it was over Jamaica. Still a potent hurricane, though. We do have hurricane warnings out for the southeastern and central Bahamas, and tropical storm warnings for the Turks and Caicos Islands. A hurricane warning for Bermuda because it is expected to be close enough you could get hurricane force winds. Look at that track there through time. It took its time. Way down here in the Caribbean, all the little wobbles, all the uncertainty. Remember, how close is it going to get to Haiti, and will it go north of Jamaica, and what's it going to do? Will it strengthen? Will it not? And then, of course, it became a record-breaking Category 5 hurricane and the strongest storm ever to hit Jamaica on record going back at least 174 years. To say nothing of striking Cuba as a Category 3 major hurricane and now being a hurricane over the central Bahamas. Quite a memorable storm. Here's the latest visible satellite imagery in the eye of the hurricane, which is obscured but still very powerful right there. And it is bubbling convection, so again, it could strengthen, and as it accelerates to the northeast, the winds could actually be kind of accelerated on the eastern side there, and that could also make things seem worse than they are as it heads towards Bermuda. The track of the hurricane through time, the red spot indicates where it is right now, very near Long Island in the central Bahamas. However, it made landfall there in Jamaica, and then it crossed over and made landfall in Cuba. It actually made landfall around 3:10 a.m. Eastern Time, very close to the town of Chivarico, right there. And then it crossed over and exited the coastline and moved into the Bahamas as a much weaker Category 1 storm, but still quite a force to be reckoned with there, taking that track from areas there of Jamaica into eastern Cuba and now into the Bahamas. Very, very historic hurricane. There's the infrared, and notice as it gets over warmer water, this explosion of deep thunderstorm activity. That's a lot of heavy rainfall. So it isn't just the Category 1 or 2 hurricane winds with higher gusts, as well as the storm surge piling into those bays. It is also the threat of heavy rainfall and the potential for flooding. Now, these are the European ensembles. They all take our storm up and out, and they miss Bermuda to the west. But like I said, you'd be on the right side of the hurricane as it strengthens and accelerates out. And then up in the Canadian Maritimes, you guys would have to watch it. But nevertheless, we should be rid of Melissa very soon. But we're going to watch this area here in the Southwest Caribbean. I think we're done, but it is possible we get a late October, early November storm. The GFS model, note here, it wants to create something sometime around the 9th, 10th of November. And a couple of the GFS runs actually show a landfall in Cuba and Florida. Look at that. A hurricane, Category 1 in southwest Florida, sometime around November 11th. I don't think that'll happen, but after Melissa, late season storms do occur, and this is something we're going to have to watch just in case. Damage pictures are coming out of Jamaica, and in some areas there, especially in St. Elizabeth Parish and Black River, that area where the eye wall was very close to, we have concrete structures that are heavily, heavily damaged or destroyed. I mean, you're looking at brick buildings and concrete just completely flattened. That is going to take them a long time to recover, and this was the worst hurricane in living memory for them, and certainly the strongest we've seen in at least 174 years. We're getting this image of a before and after, and I don't know if this is, I don't believe it's AI, but you got to be cautious. But this is before for areas of Black River, Jamaica, and this is after. And obviously, if that is accurate, which it could be, but I always have to put that disclaimer with the fake news around, if that is accurate, that shows the power of not only the Category 5 winds, but also the devastating storm surge, the power of water, even with concrete buildings being flattened. Quite remarkable. So this was a very dangerous hurricane, and it still is as it moves there over the central Bahamas. We'll continue to watch it. It should strengthen a little bit over the Gulf Stream waters and head up towards the areas there of Bermuda. I'm Mike Nasa with the latest on powerful Hurricane Melissa, prolific Hurricane Melissa, and I will talk to you next time.